On a sonic expedition dubbed From the Amazon to the Nile, Max Cavalera's union of metal and spirit Soulfly and extreme Egyptian acolytes Nile spend the spring of 2018 journeying across North America. Arriving in Pittsburgh, PA on May 1st, 2018, these heavy music exemplars are joined by local death crews Everyone Hates Everything and Post Mortal Possession in their never-ending quest for musical extremity. Infiltrating Diesel in Pittsburgh's South Side drinking district, Soulfly, Nile, and their local adherents begin the month of May, presenting the denizens of the Steel City with an incendiary night of world-traveled heavy music. With the absolute joy of parking in the South Side on full display, I am forced to miss the first of the night's bands, Everyone Hates Everything. Arriving with just enough time to check out the merchandise stand before the brutal death metal of Post-Mortal Possession abrades the audience. Highlighting upcoming tracks from the band's most recent recording sessions, Post-Mortal Possession's scathing delivery offers an incendiary warm-up for the growing crowd. Various squeals and grunts conveying vague vocalizations emanate from the band's vocalists as the band splay the soundtrack to a brutal homicide all over the traditionally dance, pop, and hip-hop friendly walls of Diesel. Led by the six strings and vocal brutality of Carl Sanders, death metal royalty Nile have continually toured on the power of 2015's What Shall Not Be Unearthed since its release. Joined by longtime drummer George Callias and Brad Paris, who has handled bass and vocals since 2015, Carl Sanders recently faced a new challenge in the band's heralded quarter-century career. Carrying into a new dynastic era, 2017 saw the departure of longtime vocalist and guitarist Dallas Toller Wade from the Nile hierarchy, and the indoctrination of new acolyte Brian Kingsland into the fold. While Toller Wade's name and influence shall never be forgotten, Kingsland packs an identifiable feral punch within the band's historical death metal sepulchral relief. Entering to the song's epic building intro, George Callias begins by joining the intro to Ramsey's Bringer of War on his drums to usher in a set of subsuming labyrinthine death metal. Celebrating a jubilee since the release of the band's debut album Amongst the Catacombs of Nephron Ka, Ramsey's Bringer of War strikes with insidious riffs that twist and coil like a threatening snake as the song pummels with blinding fury. Sacrifice unto Sebek from 2005's Annihilation of the Wicked emerges from Ramsey's smoldering demise. Evocative scales set the tone throughout the night as Nile's Egyptian-themed dominance washes over the crowd. The band's revered mastermind, Carl Sanders, anchors the band with his intricate riff exchanges and domineering vocals, all the while setting up sampled intros and other studio flourishes, adding to the inherent grandeur of the band's musical presentation. Abyssous intonations open The Black Flame, a particularly devious track from 2000's Black Seeds of Vengeance. Emerging from a lurking procession, Callias' surgical drums spring from the darkened rumination. Acting as an unceasing metronome, George Callias sets the pace as the band rips between rapid-fire blasts and a creeping entombed emanation. Defiling the Gates of Ishtar, also from Black Seeds of Vengeance, quickly follows with a warped guitar screed and a quick-paced rhythmic charge that provides the backing for a vicious lyrical battery. Kafir, a monstrous song from 2009's Those Whom the Gods Detest, instills an incessant pummel that propels the song until moments of decelerated grind pulverize the audience with an oppressively somber and fetid air. Lurching forth with scathing assuredness, the strident refrains of There Is No God project a particularly forceful reverberation. Mid-show bass issues from Brad Paris's bass rig hold up the show, but a new cable seems to solve the issue, and the band continues on with Call to Destruction, the first song of the night from the band's latest death metal history lesson, 2015's What Should Not Be Unearthed. Call to Destruction strafes the audience with a vicious churning burl as a pounding drum fury flows from the stage with acerbic bite, and the guitar solo's winding hostility only heightens a slow-moving moment laden with a treacherous groove. Continuing to delve into the band's latest release, In the Name of Amun follows, Evoking a sinister battle horn, the song's slow-burning moments soon hurtle into a pulsing primeval battery. Strident vocals harangue and guitar solos careen with sadistic intent through the blurring assault. With a harrowing despondency, the title track from 2015's What Shall Not Be Unearthed washes over the crowd. Dizzying eddies of riffs crush and churn as an uneasy trance ebbs forth from the stage, pouring forth a squalid dirge. Sampled sounds, voices, and assorted noise squall through the din of the band's assailing rebuke. The fiends who come to steal the magic of the deceased. The lone representative from 2012's At the Gates of Sethu presents an exercise in shredding viciousness. Lacerating guitars from Carl Sanders and Brian Kingsland weave a potent magic through the song's rancorous discourse, and Sarcophagus from 2002 boasts a somber regality that permeates the funerary crawl of the standout track from In Their Darkened Shrines. The stridency of the second half only underlines the quick march to the song's final moments. Nile initiate the final moments of their set with an epic intro. Closing the show with Black Seeds of Vengeance from 2000, the song launches in a bruising fashion. Black Seeds of Vengeance bristles with a scathing energy as its spiteful incantation lashes out into the night, exhibiting the same stringent power throughout the band's entire hour-long set. The tripartite vocal brutality from Carl Sanders, Brad Paris, and Brian Kingsland has scolded and admonished the crowd with venom and power, and the final song is no exception. Sung with terrifying conviction, the song's titular lyrics are belted out by band and fans with unbridled hostility. Ending the show on such a cathartic band and audience interaction, Nile's current dynasty evokes a positive response from the assembled horde. While Dallas Toller-Wade's presence will be missed, Carl Sanders and George Callias, joined by Brad Paris and Brian Kingsland, more than do justice to the unparalleled legacy of the monstrous death metal entity known as Nile. With the end of Nile's archaic historical brutality, the reformed nu metal aggression of Soulfly is slated to follow. Ascending the stage to a hero's welcome, the iconic Max Cavalera and his band of thrash-happy miscreants, Mike Leon on bass, Mark Rizzo on lead guitar, and his own son Zion on drums, quickly settle in and launch into 2005's front lines. Forceful and belligerent, the band incite the audience with aggressive tendencies. The final moments of Frontlines hit a slow groove that Mark Rizzo lights up with an electrifying slow burn guitar solo. Prophecy from 2004's album of the same name cues up next. A guttural swing flows through Prophecy's apocalyptic scrape before the song's final seconds blitz the crowd with a quick tempo beatdown. Living Sacrifice follows with certain aural destruction, treacherous buoyancy, strident insistence, and Soulfly's more expansive tendencies collide in this crushing live exaltation before a deviously abrasive ending brings the song to a close. Reaching back to the band's 1998 debut, another stringent sonic reproach batters the crowd with Fire. 20 years have only honed the incendiary potency of Fire, and the hardcore thrashing frenzy of Parada quickly follows. Parada offers a blurring follow-up to Fire that complements well. Next, a willing crowd rages along as Blood, Fire, War, Hate stiffly and quickly bristles with lethal intent. Continuing our sonic expedition, LOTM, aka Last of the Mohicans, cuts deep with Max's accusatory bite at the fore as the band delivers a focused, raging rendition of the song. Rise of the Fallen careens forth with some guitar aerobics to open the song, Mark Rizzo's guitar prowess lending a barely contained equilibrium to this rousing mid-paced crusher. Backing vocals from Mike Leon continually offer a damaged, yowling complement to Max's dominant roar. Riffing out for a brief interlude, Max exhorts the crowd to shout along as the band next powers into No Hope, No Fear from 1998. The gravity well of destruction that rips through the end of No Hope, No Fear soon evolves into an esoteric sonic vista that finds the band hitting a transcendent groove. Swarming from the stage, Seek and Strike from 2002 crushes all opposition with a viscous brutality. Another sly and insidious solo from Mark Rizzo brings Seek and Strike to a close just in time for him to take the spotlight for a monster guitar solo. Tearing up the fretboard, Mark detours through some scenic metal waypoints, including choice cuts from Metallica and Slayer, before flaying the audience wide open with a searing end run to conclude his exciting solo. The familiar strains of the berimbau herald the onslaught of Back to the Primitive, roaring through this crushing song in all of its atavistic glory. Up next, a cover of Nail Bomb's Wasting Away scours and scrapes with its insistent pummel and infectiously devious groove. This 24-year-old gem perfectly illustrates Nail Bomb's still potent, still relevant synthesis of Max's raging primal brutality and Alex Newport's scathing caustic stringency in the legendary Nail Bomb. Another cover from Max's illustrious back catalog, Arise, from Sepultura's classic 1991 album of the same name, charges through the crowd, eliciting the desired response, rabid action through glorious oral disruption. The 1-2 punch of Jump to Fuck Up and Eye for an Eye blisters through the audience to close the show. The terse hit of Jump to Fuck Up quickly overtakes eardrums and elbows before Eye for an Eye begins its attack. A heavyweight churn and Max's brutish vocal prowess highlight the set-closing rager. A free-flowing moment finds the crowd chanting one last time before the band crushes through the close of Eye for an Eye to end the set. After introducing the band, Max takes his leave of the stage, while Mark, Zion, and Mike remain to roar through a quick rousting of Iron Maiden's The Trooper before taking leave themselves. Equal parts raging ferocity, primeval energy, and thrashing groove, Soulfly's set crosses the band's 2 decades of tribal thrash to roaring crowd approval. From the first song to the last, longtime guitarist Mark Rizzo, relatively recent bass acquisition Mike Leon, and his own son Zion, Max Cavalera's 20-year journey with Soulfly continues to reflect an artist with a perpetual potency. Whether the buoyant nu metal of the band's early work or the more rigid thrash structure of recent releases, Soulfly delivers an energetic set that never relents. Traversing the world from the Amazon to the Nile, May 1st, 2018 saw an exciting night of heavy music revelry at Diesel in Pittsburgh's South Side drinking district. Led by the iconic Max Cavalera and his long-running band Soulfly, and co-headlined by America's preeminent death metal Egyptologist Nile, the evening's festivities were joined by local metal fiends Everyone Hates Everyone and Post-Mortal Possession. A strong turnout for a Tuesday night, the Heschers in attendance are more than rewarded for their devotion. A career-spanning set from Nile provides all the ritual and incantation to guarantee prosperity in this life and the next, while Soulfly approach their 20-year history with a perpetual fire burning inside. Even touching on Max's previous positions with Sepultura and Nailbomb with contemporary fervency. An epic night of metal from these titans of death and thrash, the From the Amazon to the Nile tour truly lived up to its global aspirations with an evening of music as educational and worldly as it was brutal and heavy.
Back to the pages!